Hey, how are you, sister?
Good, and yourself?
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you live and in color. Like, how often do we get to see other Gold Star families sitting across the table from us like this? You know what I
We
mean?
don't. Yeah.
I know. You look just fabulous today. Your hair looks fantastic.
Oh,
I
thank
feel like
you.
I'm a hot mess.
No, you are always beautiful, Heather. Always
Thank you. Hey, I'm looking at the time and it's 1:10 my time. What does that make it for you?
11.
11. Okay. Oh wow, man. I'm always amazed we're like 2 hours difference. It's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. So I know it's probably been hot in Arizona. It just is probably more, I would think, even than Texas, but
Holy
we're
cow.
dying over here.
We have humidity today. It's about, I don't know, about 100 and maybe 10 with
Uh-huh.
40% humidity, and that's high
Yeah.
for us.
Well, God bless America. Hey, everybody, this is my friend Teri Caserta. She is the mother of Branda Caserta, who is one of our fallen service members who died a non-combat death, along with my son Caleb. We are uniting together and, forming a basically a coalition of other families and other moms. We call ourselves the Mothers of the Fallen, but we're here today to talk about just how we see things, in the military as it stands right now. We love the military. How about
Right.
you? I mean, like, we got in this whole thing because we love our nation. We love, love our military. I know, Terry, your husband is as a veteran. How long did he serve?
22 years in the Navy.
Oh my gosh. And
Uh,
he was a Navy counselor and a recruiter.
Correct. He went in as a gunner's mate on a ship. They call the what they do, but he shot the missiles and stuff. He was a missile launcher, and then uh, he he decided to go recruiting. So he was a Navy counselor and recruiting and head of recruiting here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, and the more I find out about him, I realize what a heart of empathy he had and continues to have. You guys, I mean, oh my gosh, like what you guys are doing with the Brandon Caserta Foundation and what we're trying to do with the Brandon Act that still is not properly enacted, even though it's
Correct.
been passed into law. Um, like, what do you guys think about all the, like, I was just reading this article about, recruiting. This article in particular that I'm reading, it says every branch of the military is struggling to make its 2022 recruiting goals, officials say, with a record low number of Americans eligible to serve and few of these willing to do it. It's a year we question the sustainability of all volunteer forces. And this is an ABC News article, I believe. And so like these are military officials that are reporting in this article, I mean, like, this is a legit article.
It is. It is.
What do you
And Heather, they're blaming the fact that most people can't join because of obesity and anxiety and depression. They're also blaming the fact that society is not looking at the military as a safe environment. They think
Uh-huh.
they mentioned in the article that um, sorry, I lost my thought train. Um, that people are afraid that they are going to be quote broken
Yes.
after they serve. Well, of course they're going to be quote broken after they serve. Look at the crap that they go through while they're
Hmm.
serving. I mean, a lot of
Right.
them have suicidal ideations because toxic abusive leadership because of sexual harassment and sexual assault, um, bullying and hazing. Of course, they're going to be broken if they are able to retire and not die by suicide or uh, die in an accident or like your son die in his barracks alone and nobody gives a flying fleep.
That's right.
He's missing.
Completely forgotten.
Exactly. So of
When,
course they're going to be broken if
uh
they make it out alive.
that's right. When the military standard operating procedure should reflect the creeds that they stand by, you know, and I've had service members tell me, on TikTok where I've said stuff, about how important it is to follow the creeds that you sign up under, and they say, oh, we, basically only look at those for 5 seconds to memorize it one time so that we can pass our qualification for our next, um, next level, the next level.
You know,
To be an NCO, to be able to um, lead. Um,
now
when it
in,
talks about in the NCO creed, the welfare of the soldiers being the most important, you know.
it, is it is it really?
Yeah,
No,
no.
because they aren't. If they would start holding people accountable for their
Mm-hmm.
or inactions, that is
Mm-hmm.
when they're going to have a safe environment for our children, mothers, dads, anybody join. But they don't have that safe environment. Vanessa Guillen alone proves that.
That's right.
Brandon proves that. Caleb, your son. And
Yeah,
these are deaths within a 4-year period.
that's absolutely the truth. Like everybody that I've met, I know there are people that have cases that go back 15 years and such, I mean, think
Right.
about Lavina Johnson. I think, there's many others I think about that where their cases go back. But all of these cases where we know each other, we've all met with, it's been like between 2, 3 years, and we're catching like a net, like the unbroken chain that was broken for our service members. We're catching these families left and right and trying to encourage them, but also inform them about like what's going down and because I mean, I can remember you reaching out to me for the very first time and me having not a clue about what was going on and having all of these red flags and questions going off in my mind. And so enough so that I'm starting to speak out on Facebook, which I mean, this like ignited a totally different personality side of me. Like I wasn't one of those people that was really political or would speak out. I'm a dang hippie and an artist. And if these people broke me, and now I'm like, just, you're just looking for who knows something. And you have been like one of my most valuable, like, battle buddies and sisters, because I feel um, just like what you guys have been through empowers me, like seeing you move forward with the Brandon Act and then with the Brandon Caserta Foundation. It empowers me to actively move on in my fight for finding out why they dropped the ball so hard with my son, Caleb, and continue to evade my questions, you know? And yet, mine and Caleb's goal, like when he was still alive, was to build the team, which is what we're talking about right now, is building the team. And when you build the team, it's because you believe in the team. And so it's very strategic. And of course, you want people where they're most qualified and where they want to be. So you have people that actually love to recruit, want to recruit and build the team, and I think that's beautiful. But what I'm saying to families, and because I don't know, Teri, if knowing some of the statistics like we know now, the fact that 75% of our service members die in a non-combat situation, and of that 75%, 93% die on U.S. soil. That should make everybody's jaw drop.
Right.
And then the fact that 1 in 6 of our medical providers, staff, like doctors, nurses, 1 out of 6 of those people are accredited. That means they're certified to do their job. If I had known, like, and we've talked about this before, Teri, like, if we had known those statistics, what would it have done? Would it have changed our kids' desire to serve? Probably not, because we have these dang stubborn kids that's all they've ever been able to think of. And so their mission would have been to make it better, which in the end is what's happening here. But would we, at least we would have known what the statistics are and how to support our service member every step of the way, and make ourselves more aware of what's normal and what's not normal.
Right.
Civilian versus military.
Right.
And what your rights are and what your rights are not, because of, things like the Ferris Doctrine. Yeah, like it was like another language, isn't it? Like this dang Ferris Doctrine.
Well, and people don't realize that you and me, families like in our situation, cannot sue the military for anything. Ferris Doctrine.
No, it completely blocks you from having any kind of justice. And let me just remind the public here that, when we have negligent things happen in the civilian world, there's a process of holding people accountable.
Right.
And that's the norm.
Yep.
That's the norm. Hey, we can't help that the way that people get justice in this country is monetarily, and sometimes by serving time in a federal prison,
And you have to remember too, Heather, the ones that commit these crimes in the military, they get out.
That's right.
Is no black spot on their record. It's like if they assaulted somebody and was convicted, they're not going to jail. They're going to be kicked out of the military in the civilian world, where they can do it over and over and over until they get caught, if they get caught.
So not only do they need to be held accountable and kicked out of the military for whatever crime, maybe depending on the situation, I would say. But if death is involved, like, why are you protecting that person?
Exactly.
You're, criminal, and you're protecting them. And then on top of that, you're just shifting them from one base to the next. Maybe even them a special new job that requires a special new pay, elevating their status, and then, finally retiring with full benefits, and then they live in the civilian world with us and have been used to getting what they want, and have been used to allowing the shirking of responsibility, learning how to maneuver the system, and they're out here with us now. And they don't care about anybody's life over there, and now they are out here with us. Do you think that has changed, or do you think that they have created a culture for themselves to continue?
They created the culture, and they know how to get away with something. They were in the military. They got away with it. Okay, so their commanding officer or whoever who's higher rank, maybe they liked him, so he got away with it. Okay, so in the civilian world, you don't think that same thing can happen?
Oh yeah,
Of course it can.
absolutely.
How to maneuver the system to work in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the military. They keep secrets all the time. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so
And
too.
there, and on the civilian side, you'll see that as well. You know,
Yep.
we call it the good old boy system, right?
Exactly. But in the civilian world, if somebody speaks up and a police officer does the job that he is supposed to do and finds that person guilty, they have repercussions. Where in the military, they just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Well,
so
there's a process of justice. There's
right.
the ability to have that process of justice. The
So
Fed, the Ferris Doctrine blocks us, and it's not even a real. It's not even a real law. It's just case law that basically combats the Federal Tort Claim Act.
exactly. So what are we supposed to do? Wait until they go into the civilian sector and wait for them to mess up in order to get justice for our sons and
Well,
any
it's going to take, that would take years for anybody to draw the connection.
exactly.
You
The,
know, I mean, us families are crying out because we see the connection like live and in color happening, and then
almost
of course, you know, nobody will cover our cases through the news, or you know, I mean, I think the fact that they're not basically really enacting the Brandon Act is, I mean, that's cause for lots of media attention and coverage. And what if
exact
you had like one article written, which I'm grateful for these articles, you know, but like we're talking about heinous crimes like these non-combat deaths, you know, people actually losing their heads and stuff like that, you know, where family has to go actually find their head themselves. You know, Enrique Roman Martinez, his family,
right,
when we interviewed them. I mean,
right. And then you've got people. I'm helping this sailor, and they threw this sailor in the brig for asking for help. They're throwing the wrong people. Yeah, in the brig. He was in there for months, and he finally just got out. But they threw him in the brig because he asked for mental health help. So who's getting punished? It's so the whole system is hosed. It's just hosed. It doesn't mean that we are against our military, because that is the furthest from the truth. But
but this is not the norm, and that's the this is this behavior that has crept up, and all the shirking responsibility, you know, these heinous acts of violence, allowing this kind of thing to persist is not the norm. I wouldn't think.
they
I
created it. They created it. Why? I have no idea.
And now they're wondering why the recruiting numbers are so low.
Exactly.
Um, they're saying things like the lack of education about the military, knowing about the military is like one of the top reasons why people aren't joining. Do you think that's true, Terry?
No, I think the military is finally getting out there, and
Yes.
people looking at it going, what the heck? Because if you look again, this is Navy, and I apologize, but the George Washington aircraft carrier, they've had they had 12 deaths in 8 months. Five of those were suicides within the past 4 months. Eight suicides, and that commanding officer is still in charge. That whole chain of
Well,
command still in charge.
that's right. That's
And
crazy.
that got out, and that was a nationwide article. And I honestly
And
believe if people would report on these deaths, I think that is why recruiting is down, especially the Army, because Vanessa Guillen, I mean, look at, they were going to charge her as AWOL,
exactly.
and they didn't even look for her, just like they didn't look for many other missing service
No,
members. And
they weren't
all,
Gregory Morales either. Although
exactly,
they body when they were looking for Vanessa's. And he
exactly,
buried himself.
exactly. And they marked him as AWOL, and his poor mom, the whole year that he was missing,
Mm-hmm.
was thinking that he was still alive, just supposedly walked off base, even though he was going to get out in what, 3 weeks? Is that what she said?
This continues to happen. This kind of stuff continues to happen. I heard a case the other day where the Marine was going to get out in like 3 days,
Yep.
and then supposedly fentanyl. It was a fentanyl death. You know, how easy is it to kill somebody with fentanyl? Throw it in a beer. They're not used to it. If you have a little something against them,
Right. All
and
these,
it's to continue to build questions in our minds as we continue to see these types of deaths.
and we understand what the families go through, because even though um, your Caleb was in the Army and Brandon was in the Navy, you would think they'd have the same policies, but they don't. You got better treatment than I did um, from the command. Brandon's command has yet to talk to us. They refuse to talk to us. At least you got to sit across from them. We haven't been able to do that. Um,
Yeah, that's the difference between our cases, and that needs to be brought to the attention of Congress.
exactly. So even the Air Force and the Marines, they all have different policies, and it's not fair that one family gets the royal and another family gets absolutely nothing.
And in your case, how can they deny you entry to the base when your husband is a veteran
Right.
and he was it? Would you say 23 years,
22.
22 veteran, Navy counselor and recruiter
Combat veteran. Yep.
and combat veteran? I mean, like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
The way that you guys were treated, and they attempted to bamboozle you by saying that Brandon was in the hospital when he was really dead on the flight line.
He was alive and in the hospital. Yep.
Not to mention that he was on that flight line for 7.5 hours,
Yep. Yep.
and a young lady passing his body by that evening said, "Hey," had to remind them that his body was still out there.
Pretty sad.
I'm so sorry that that you have been treated that way when I'm eating a lobster dinner
Exactly.
and the defect. I mean, it's what it is. But hey, they're like, hey, let's make sure that we got the lobster dinner thing going on, guys, when the bakers come through with the memorial.
And that is a bamboozlement, as you call it. It is. They were whining and dining you, hoping that you would not have questions because they are taking care of you.
And letting me know, like the colonels letting me know how they treat their paratroopers like family, and you know
Because
that they're
Caleb
the of the elite
and
airborne.
Caleb, if they considered him family, they let him sit in his barracks room days before anybody even probably thought to look for him. Really?
Yeah,
Family?
that's
Maybe
right.
my family, but not.
Right? Dang. If that's your family, Colonel Otan.
Who would want to be part of it? Hence the reason the recruiting is down.
Yes. This article that you sent me, this article, and you said check out the very last paragraph. I'm going to read this very last paragraph to everyone. The Army has also picked low hanging fruit, such as relaxing its tattoo policies. Okay. All right. Well, which is expected to impact only a few hundred recruits per year. In an interview with Task and Purpose, which is a reputable magazine, or right? Um, Army Secretary Christine Wormuth has also expressed concerns that negative media attention on scandals and issues in the force, including sexual assault and harassment, suicide, and other quality of life problems. We can take care of that, folks, if we look at the NCO creed that talks about the welfare of the soldier. Now, I don't know what it is in the Marine world or the Navy world, what those creeds look like, but I can guarantee you they all look about the same.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure they do. I haven't read it. I'm still mad.
Um, they're saying that these issues may be impacting recruiting. I think that, and I hope that they are. I hope that the every article that I put out with Caleb's name in it, that or Brandon's name in it, the Brandon Act, or any of our other service members who have died in non-combat situations that have military injustices, I hope that gives families food for thought, and I hope that the recruiting numbers stay where they're at. I hope families take into more consideration the statistics. Um, that and this is I've said it before, and this is all recent congressional research. And I know to some people maybe the statistics are boring, but the numbers haven't started to change yet. And so I have to keep stating that 74% of our service members die non-combat deaths. This is recent congressional research. Of that 74%, 93% die on U.S. soil.
And you have to remember now you have to think about we are in no war. Are we in hot spots? Absolutely. But we are not in a war. Now you're
That's right.
100% dying on American soil.
It's a really
Almost,
good point.
maybe. But three, I think it goes up to 98%.
Yeah, because this is congressional research from about a year and a half to 2 years ago. It's still recent, but
Exactly.
those numbers are exponentially going up, and we all know that because one of the things is that we I don't have a quality assurance or quality assurance investigation. They're not showing us how they're changing things as a result of these deaths. They're not even finished giving me in almost 3 years. They haven't finished giving me all of the investigations. They're stringing it out as long as they can make it. It's so very strategic. It's ridiculous. It's obvious. It's a chess match.
Well, and Heather, too, if you stop asking, you stop fighting, you will never get those because they're going to think, okay, well, she moved on. We don't have to worry about it. That is what they're hoping in your case.
Yes. I can't even really say that I'm suing the United States Army for medical malpractice. It's not suing the It's all it is a claim. And the DOD, who is paying it out? The DOD.
Correct.
They're still the judge, jury, and adjudicator.
If
So
it's that,
if it even gets that far. Right now, they're wanting me to still prove that I have legal ability to speak on my son Caleb's behalf.
well, who else would it be? Caleb can't talk.
That's right. They want me to go to the expense of getting a judge to sign off on the fact that I have that legal right.
Have you sent him the birth certificate? Send him his birth certificate.
It's a good idea, Teri.
Hey, this is my freaking proof right here. Just a thought. Sorry, it just came to me.
Well, you know, that's what I'm saying is just, they're just dragging their heels on literally everything and nitpicking things to death and not giving a care about the actual service member at all. It's to block us and to continue our suffering.
Yep.
Every time they withhold something, when they withheld the photographs of him laying on the floor in his dorm room, in his sorry, not dorm room, his barracks room. You know, they told me that they withheld that information so that it would alleviate any further suffering. And I said, the fact that you won't give it to me gives me further suffering. The fact that I'm having to beg for literally every piece of evidence that you might have, even though most of everything that's said in the CID investigation is hearsay, and they don't have shit proof to back anything up.
Right.
Even though their final review, you know, uses people's testimony that have not had it validated. They have no way of validating their testimony because they used somebody else's phone. They must have used somebody else's phone.
Really?
How can you prove that you did talk to Caleb on the 17th of January? Oh, well, I must have used somebody else's phone. Oh, okay, good answer. We'll take that as a valid answer. No.
Blame
He
it
said
on everybody.
he must have used somebody else's phone. Well, who does that? They're all on group text these days. Never a single person. Even homeless people have phones these days.
Exactly. You're
So
absolutely
stop it. Stop
right.
trying to bamboozle me. You know how I know that homeless people have phones? It's because I have worked with the homeless people.
Well, and I see them on the street all the time. They have cell phones. And they're iPhones. So how are they getting the money for I?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like even a homeless person.
Right. Right. That's what
That's
they do.
people. We all have to communicate through texts and emails and, you know, social
Well,
media.
and when I did our first FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, I put that I request the FOIA the information for free. They came back and asked why I deserve to have it for free, and I said because I am the mother of
They
Brandon.
asked that?
Yep. Yep. Why should we give it to you free? Because I'm the mother, freaking moron. And yes, from then on, all of my paperwork, all of my FOIAs that I've ever done, I say I deserve this for free because my son died.
Okay.
And
I need to
because
make sure I do that whenever I write my next FOIA.
I would, but you know what, Heather, if you haven't had to pay yet, you probably won't. I'm telling you, they know who's going to fight. And don't get me wrong, they probably knew you would, but they definitely knew we would because of Pat's status. So they tried to block us at all angles. And they were not, I guarantee you, expecting you to fight as hard and as long as you have.
You think? Really?
Yep. Because here's what most Gold Star families accept the loss and they don't do anything. Yes, they will automatically. They're supposed to get the investigations if there is one conducted. Um, but if you think about it, just in the last 4 years, I have learned very few Gold Star families fight for justice. They just accept the death because it was in the military
Right.
and it would never be their fault, the military's fault, and that's their thinking. Yeah,
And I think also, yeah, it can't be the military's fault, but also when they start realizing the oh holy shit moment that they have in their head whenever they realize that they start seeing all these red flags is that they are too maybe timid or afraid to step out there against that force because they do try to intimidate you. And that's why I'm so grateful for my veterans and like Patrick, your husband, like helping me understand what's the norm in the military. Having my private investigator Manuel Gomez, him validate as an 18th Airborne Special Operations officer, 20 years in the military doing these crazy ass jobs, having somebody like that validate the simplicity and the egregiousness of what happened to Caleb. What's happening not just to Caleb, but so many others.
right,
And like, I want to fight for Caleb and justice for Caleb. But when I look across the sea and the mountain growing every day of other families who are experiencing these egregious deaths, these military injustices, and you start seeing them, like, I can't unsee it. I can't unhear these stories, you know? And so, like, somebody has to do something, somebody has to say something, but not everybody is able to do that. It's too exhausting. It's tiring, first of all, having the death, and then to understand the whole way the military lines out with the justice system, and it differs from our justice system in the civilian world. And then you have this term called these like the Ferris Doctrine and all these different crazy terms that they're thrown your way if you've not ever dealt with, really made yourself available to politics or military terminology. It makes you want to have heart failure,
right.
honestly.
It
You just
does.
like, it's too much pressure. And so that's why, like, I know not all of our families can stand up like maybe what I'm doing or what you're doing, but like, I'm begging you guys to bring us your stories so that we can help you. We can speak with you about the egregiousness of your situation. We want to support you, come alongside of you. It's not our story, but it is a collective story being told because it's a war that not any of us knew existed.
Right.
If you have like a testimony of something that has happened to you and your family as a result of um, military injustice, we want to hear from you. And so I know it's on TikTok. You can't really communicate with one another. Um, unless you're friends with the person. So I do my best to go and friend people that are on my live stream, or at least request your friendship. And that way, in case you have any questions, you can always ask us. And I know Teri will probably do the same thing. You can also find us on uh, Facebook under Mothers of the Fallen. Teri has her own pages on Facebook. If you just look up Brandon Caserta, you'll run into her. If you just look up the Brandon Caserta Foundation or the Brandon Act, you can find all of her pages there that I know that you can message her on any one of those platforms. And I think you're also on TikTok. Instagram. And what else?
Twitter.
Twitter.
LinkedIn.
What?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay. I haven't done that one yet. But if you look up my name, Heather Baker, you'll find me on Facebook. If you look up Caleb Smither or PB2 Caleb Smither, you'll find us on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter, really. I need to figure that one out. And then, of course, Mothers of the Fallen. There's a way for you to run into us, I promise. But we would love to hear from you. Right, Teri?
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I know that Teri works a lot with our servicemen and women who contact her through the Brandon Caserta Foundation, which is, I'll let you tell them just a little bit about the foundation and what it is all about.
Well, the Brandon Caserta Foundation, we want to stop military suicide. One is too many. And they say that they want, a lot of places say they want to bring the suicide rates down to society rates. Well, that's not good enough. That's just not good enough. So we're really trying hard to combat suicide in our military.
Yeah, because there's a smaller population, right? I mean, comparatively to society, so the statistics should be down further than normal.
Yes.
Okay.
In our opinion, one is too many. And right now, the first quarter of the suicide numbers have been released, and there are I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, there are 78 suicides so far in the first 3 months. Now, don't get me wrong, that is down a few from the first quarter of 2021.
Okay.
With a spike with the Air Force. They had a spike of 8, which is unheard of because the Air Force is honestly is better than most of the other services. And I wish.
No, way to go, Air Force.
No, right? They take care of their people, supposedly. Now, their culture could be changing too with the spike of 8, but that doesn't mean that they're going to spike every quarter. But
right.
Technically, they are the better branch of the military because they tend to care more about their airmen than other branches. That's a branch that I wish Brandon really would have joined, but he wanted to become a Navy SEAL. You can't be a Navy SEAL through there. So anyway, the numbers are too high. Society numbers are too high. 0 is what we aim for because we never should have been, the Brandon Act never should have been a thing. The Brandon Caserta Foundation is fighting for our service members, and honestly, the Brandon Caserta Foundation should not exist.
Yeah,
it really should not, and that is our goal, is to not have to exist for the active duty. Now, if we fix active duty, we fix veterans by de facto. When I say that, if they get help, mentally and physical help, while they're serving, the chances of them having severe PTSD when they get out is astronomical. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, it won't. I don't want to say it won't exist, because anybody who serves, especially in combat, will always have PTS, post traumatic stress. They're all of a sudden taking out the disorder portion.
Oh,
So, yes,
no, that.
yeah, I learned that the other day. So, PTS, um, they'll always have that, but our goal is to make that less when they get out, because they're getting help. And
Mm-hmm.
asking for help is not a sin.
Well, and it's a learning strategies. A lot of times it's just learning strategies in your mind to cope or to mentally or emotionally continue moving forward with the mission,
Right. You
you
can't,
know?
the mission cannot be carried out if you do not have service members who are mentally fit as well as physically fit. You just can't. And if they can get help without retaliation and without going through the chain of command, which that's what the Brandon Act is,
Mm-hmm.
it takes the stigma away. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get mental help. It's okay to get physical help if you need it. It's okay.
That's right.
But the military still does not believe that.
And I want to say to all of our followers and folks that are watching us right now that we are available for our Blue Star families.
Yes.
You know who what that means? It's a Blue Star family is a family that has their service members that are in active duty right now. I believe I'm correct about that.
Yes.
Um, but that's who we're here for. We're here for our Gold Star families and to unite as well. But if we can help you in some way, if we can guide you and direct you, and uh, I know that Teri helps a lot of families who have service members that are in that are feeling it, feeling the pressure of not being able to get the help that they need, and so they are thinking about making that ultimate decision that to end a life, and they're reaching out for help, which makes me so excited that people are actually reaching out. But think about how many more millions could reach out if they knew that they could, or knew that they have the ability to reach out and um, just find an avenue of help. um, and like I said before, just teaching people um, that some techniques and skills, meditative breath or whatever. And I know it sounds so like silly maybe, but like when you join a community around these things, or where you have these options, it you'll start to feel the strength in it. But I just wonder, like, what are the options, out there for people to get help? Because I mean, I would think that it would just be such an overwhelmingly huge task to be, at the helm of this Teri Caserta Foundation and trying to answer questions and help families and help save lives. Like, are there any other organizations that are out there that are available to our service members if they
There
need help?
there are. There's quite a few actually. Head Headstrong is one. Um, Hicks Strong is one.
Okay.
Shields and Stripes, although they help more veterans than they do service members. Um, so that's a good one for
Hey,
veterans.
yes.
Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of these places like Wounded Warriors and uh,
I know the VA also has, resources and group. I don't know. I would say group social or classes or what am I trying to say? Counseling, group counseling. Um, I've tried to ask them to get a Gold Star family group counseling going.
What they
But, what's that?
what did they say? Did they
Well,
say
the fella, he was really excited about it and wanted to, but I haven't heard back from him, so
follow up with them?
to call him back.
Stop. I mean, what Heather? What we're trying to do, most people haven't even thought of, and their first reaction is, "Gosh, that is a great idea," but they don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you reach back out to them and you have ideas on how they can do that, tell them.
Yeah.
They don't want to. It sounds like a lot of work that they're going to have to do. But if they get some ideas from you or others, um, then it won't feel like such a huge take on to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. If yeah, and I do have some ideas. I mean, honestly, it's just making a space, creating a time and a space for people um to speak. And
And
that's the thing I love about like even what we're doing right now, just like the fact that here we are all these miles away and we're able to communicate and talk and even just see each other's faces, which to me is very beneficial, to my healing process to get to sit across the table from such an amazing gold star mom as yourself, fire warrior, advocate, champion, like I've learned so much from you, and um, I just really appreciate you guys. Um, and that's how we families have to be to one another, and we have to be the human kindness. Um, um, and
live by karate code words: honor, respect, patience, and kindness.
honor,
He
respect, and kindness. I love that.
he lived by them. He lived by them.
And the code of human kindness, the code of humankind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, hey, I have enjoyed talking to you today. How
Cute.
about should we do this again?
Yes, I
I
love it.
think we have so much to talk about. Today we talked about recruiting. I'm sure we have tons more to talk about on that subject, but there's so many other subjects. We touched on a lot of things actually. We touched on the fair stock, some other things. Just a quick say hi to our folks that are watching. Hi, Teri Demir. How are you, sister? Oh, she says you two are heroes for what you're doing. Well, and so are you.
Exactly. So
Are
is your
you being able to speak out for your son and stand in the gap for him? You're a hero. That's I believe that mothers are their children's first heroes.
yep.
You know, that's not me being arrogant. That's just a fact.
Exactly.
um, oh, she says to get on Twitch. I think that I'm not sure what that platform is. I've heard of it.
I've heard of it too, and I was going to mention it. I have no idea, but it's worth looking into.
Hi, little miss. Have you had any luck with finding that woman's mom that we talked? No, I have not had luck finding her yet. Thank you so much for reminding me of that, though. Um, Next, thank you so much. Oh wow, my active duty offender, my active duty offender got away with it in the military. Went and re-offended as a civilian. Remember when we were talking about like letting them out
Yeah, yeah,
when they've committed these heinous crimes and not holding them accountable, judicially accountable, or holding them um, I mean, and then what do? They get out and they think that they have the right to just basically continue the way they've been rolling this whole time, man.
Hopefully,
Oh,
he was
gosh.
accountable.
Yeah. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We wanted to get on and say hello to one another and just chit chat with you guys for a bit. Um, Informative video on what's going on in our military. This is just military mom talk, guys.
Yep. I
And
love
we
that.
love our military. We want to make sure that they continue to be
It's,
the careers that they sign up to be, and we want to hold them accountable, and we want to support them. We want to honor them. But we also just want our servicemen and women to be safe on their own territory. And we're just saying, hey, it's not safe right now, and until it is safe, um, we'll let you know when we give you the thumbs up to go ahead and join. We couldn't keep our kids from joining, but the thing is, um, I know that I don't know about Teri, but I probably would have been more of a helicopter mom had I known the statistics as I was sharing with you guys before. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will hopefully maybe we'll see you guys again next week.
yes, that'd be awesome.
So much love to you. God bless America.
God,
Later, Teri.
bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.